Yo, the reviews are in for Black Sunday at Timeline Theater. They're calling the new play a particularly poignant and poetic drama, spectacularly immersive, ooh, that's some praise, and a spellbinding 90 minutes of theater. That's why you don't want to miss the world premiere of this homegrown show, which tells a haunting story of climate change, migration, and family in the days leading up to one of the most infamous dust storms in 1930s Texas. Black Sunday runs through June 29th at Timeline Theater in Lakeview. For more info and tickets, head to timelinetheater.com. Today on CityCast Chicago, summertime shot is always busy, so we want to make sure we're keeping you up to date on the best things to do during these summer weekends. That's why we've enlisted CityCast Chicago contributor Greta Johnson to put us on the events we gotta check out, talk parks versus beaches, and get our summer reading list on lock. It's Thursday, June 6th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. Greta, welcome back to CityCast Chicago, my friend.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here, my friend.
Hey, we brought you in because you always been plugged into some of the cool things happening in Chicago. And I mean, this weekend alone, we got the Humboldt Park Puerto Rican Fest. We got Midsummer Fest at Andersonville, Old Town Art Fair. Honestly, I could keep going and going and going. But if y'all want an events calendar, go to chicago.citycast.fm and you'll find it there. Greta, you're here to talk about some of the things you're looking forward to this weekend. What's on your list?
Okay, so full disclosure, Jacoby, to me, usually the ideal weekend is when I am doing absolutely nothing at all. But I think also having grown up in Alaska, I have something that's very real that Chicagoans also have. I call it Alaskan sun guilt, but I think it's the same here, right? Where it's like when it's sunny and it's a beautiful day, you're like, I gotta get out there. I am really excited about this event called Shout Out, and it is a tribute to gays in gospel music. This looks like so much fun. It is narrated by the Cheryl Corley from NPR, who I adore.
Me too. I just saw her a couple of weeks ago
She's the best.
At a public narrative event. She is the best.
Yeah, so this looks really fun. It's at the Beverly Arts Center. It's this coming Sunday. And I have to tell you, probably honestly, what sold me on it is that it starts at 3 p.m. But I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be like, that sounds like the perfect Sunday afternoon, you know?
It says it's a joyous concert of music and stories featuring artists like Little Richard, Rosetta Tharpe, James Cleveland, and so many more. The Beverly Arts Center always has some fantastic events, but with Pride Month starting now, we're seeing more and more events. And one that people might be interested in, it's a skate party that's taking place at the MLK Center on Saturday, and it's going to be, I think it's starting at 10:30, so it's like a night skate party for Chicago's Black LGBTQ plus scene, and so that's another one for folks to check out.
That's awesome.
If people are not familiar with Chicago's place in gospel music, we did an entire episode on Chicago's role in modern gospel. We are a little bit late. Gospel Fest was last week at Millennium Park, and so we did miss out on that, but Blues Fest is this weekend if we're trying to get, you know, again, if we want to talk about another iconic, the iconic contributions to a genre. That's another one. You got anything else on your list this weekend?
No, that's really it. Oh, actually, I have dinner reservations at Giant. My brother got me a gift certificate for my birthday to Giant, which is probably my favorite restaurant in the city. So I'm really, and it just happens to be the 1 year anniversary that my boyfriend and I moved in together. So we're going to go celebrate.
Gee, me and Taylor went to Giant last Friday.
Did you really? Oh.
Giant is over in Logan Square. If people are not familiar, James Beard award-winning restaurant.
Phenomenal.
We do the chef's counter every single time we go. Oh. And while we were there, we looked through, I think it's on Open Table. We looked through, Taylor and I have been 7 times to Giant together. It is, in fact, we were there the night that Kendrick Lamar dropped Meet the Grams, 20 minutes after Drake dropped Family Matters. We were sitting at the chef's counter eating our food, G, and we just was there with Meet the Grams playing while we were eating. It's one of our favorite restaurants. Everyone who works there is really great. Our server Bailey always remembers us, and so we love
really
Giant.
Sweet. It's the best. And we made reservations for like 5:30, which I love too. I love geriatric dinner time, so it's gonna be a great weekend.
3:30 at the Beverly Arts Center. Y'all already see where Greta's like perfect time is.
Yeah, don't ask me to do anything after 7 p.m. It's just not going to happen.
So for me this weekend, again, with so much going on, we've got the Puerto Rican Fest and the parade this weekend over in Humboldt Park. But something else that I'm looking forward to out in the park is over on the south side, and it's the Lost Kingdoms at Washington Park. It starts this Saturday, runs for the next 2 weeks. And it's a set of over 50 life-size animatronic dinosaurs, woolly mammoth, saber-toothed tigers, other creatures from like the Jurassic, the Ice Age. I don't know if those are the proper terms for that, but that's what the Jurassic Age, Ice Age. It's going to be set up like a trail through Washington Park. So an excuse to go through the park. It's over off 56th and King Drive. It does cost about $25, but if you live in the 20th ward, it's $10 for adults, $5 for kids. So it's just a smooth opportunity for me to walk through Washington Park. But to keep the dinosaur kick going, I got a few more of these. The Field Museum has an exhibit that's been running for a while called the Chicago Archaeopteryx. Let me spell that for y'all. ARCHAEOPTERYX. Yes, Chicago Archaeopteryx. That's closing this Sunday and explores the evolutionary link between dinosaurs and modern birds. So y'all know the episode we did on pigeons a while back.
Dinosaurs.
Right. Dinosaurs. Modern day dinosaurs. We just did an episode on chickens recently. Dinosaurs. Modern dinosaurs.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And so there's a connection here, folks. But if you're not interested in either of those, if you like your dinosaurs in the monster variety, the Music Box is partnering with the Japanese Arts Foundation to throw a Godzilla birthday party.
Oh, cool.
Starting tomorrow through the 13th. It's going to be a celebration of 70 years of all things Godzilla. Film screenings, special guests, 24 hours, Showa era marathon. So it's a lot going on around monsters and dinosaurs this weekend. I think I'm going to stop by Washington Park to take a little hike and take me some pictures next to the woolly mammoths. The T-Rex going to be out there. So yeah, no offense, Sue. No offense. We still love you. But I want to go see the T-Rex in Washington Park over the next 2 weeks. But Greta, you ever been obsessed with dinosaurs? Is that something for you?
No, not obsessed with dinosaurs. I think I was more into dragons, which are also kind of dinosaur-y, but also don't exist. So here we are.
I mean, they exist for us in
our
a
hearts.
week and a half.
Yeah, they do.
Cause we back.
Yep.
I know we ain't got time to just go through how much we love House of Dragons, but that's a lovely pitch. Y'all listen to Greta's podcast, All Things House of Dragons. Shout out to Greta. Speaking of walking through Washington Park, we've been having this debate about parks versus beaches in Chicago. We just got back in the beach season. The lifeguards are back out there. I like to think park season is largely year round. You might not be out there at the height of a polar vortex, but that's got me wondering, Greta, when it comes to summertime shy, what do you envision as the perfect summer day for you? Do you see yourself at a park or do you see yourself at a beach?
It's a really difficult question because I think parks also have serious pros, but I think I would end up choosing beach just because my heat tolerance is very, very low. I'm sweating with the AC on in my apartment right now. What sounds that bring you lovely
the water part.
Is the water.
Yeah, I was dumb as hell. I'm thinking about the sand. I'm like, bro, there's no trees.
You're like, what does that have to do with the beach?
I forgot it's water adjacent.
It's the water part is like the whole point of the beach, really, right? I mean, like, I also will say we interviewed on Nerdette years ago now, this woman, Alex Beggs, who's a food writer, and she lives in Michigan. And she talked about how like what she loves to do at the beach is like wear a tiny swimsuit and get like the biggest sandwich she can and eat the sandwich on the beach. And there is, park snacks also lovely, but there's something about like eating snacks in a swimsuit on the beach that is just like so exquisitely delightful. So those are my beach pitches. I also like, the sand will never escape you. You will always be haunted by sand. So I understand there are pros and cons to both, but for the sake of this discussion, I'm going to pick beach.
I definitely went to 63rd Street Beach as a kid, but you can already see my association with beaches. Like the minute you said it, I was like, why? If you talking about not wanting to be out in the sun, why would you be at the
it's
beach?
hot,
I
it's
just
sandy.
did not go to and still don't really use Chicago's beaches in the ways that they are available.
Yeah.
And again, I've lived relatively close to the water. I always picture when I think of the water, I think about just like walking up the lakefront versus like parking
Which is beautiful.
on the beach.
Yeah.
But I love that. I was just like, why are you at the beach? And my brain's just like, the water, dummy. What do you
I'm so glad you got there,
But
Jacoby.
I also don't go into the water. I go kayaking, obviously, but I've been in Lake Michigan on some swimming shit one time in the last 20 years.
Wow. You're like my grandma. She always said she was allergic to swimming.
I just remember as a kid going out and swimming on like maybe like 35th Street Beach and my dad just saying something to the effect of like, this is like the nastiest part
There's
of the
so
water
much
for you to
poop
be
in
ducking
this
and
water.
diving in, buddy. Yeah. And so that just stuck with me. And so I'm
No,
getting
that's
back
real.
into it. I'm getting back into it, but I'm more team parks. I'm more team park. What's your beach of choice?
Oh, I mean, they're all good. When I first lived here was in Uptown. So like Montrose always has like a special place in my heart, but 63rd is beautiful. Oak Street, if you really want to get bougie about it. I mean, they're all lovely. I do think there is also a middle ground for us, Jacoby, and that is the public pool, which like Chicago has so many. And that's something I only learned about like just before the pandemic, but those are amazing. And I think you get kind of the best of both sides where you get like your grassy areas, your shade, you can still get in the water. There's probably public bathrooms nearby. It's all good.
I mean, I'm going to step that bougie up a little bit. You were talking about Oak Street Beach. We got a little apartment pool over here or something. So, I'll be at the pool now, but I'll be at the pool.
All right. I'm coming over. That's it.
We got you. All right. So again, can't go wrong. Parks or beaches, especially during this time of the year.
Win, win, win.
But when you go out to the beach, in addition to good snacks, I imagine you also taking something to read with you, right? You've been someone who's come on the show in the past to put us up on a summer book list. Let me start here. How many books you read so far 2025?
Oh, I should have counted. I don't know.
See, that's already more than me because you don't even know.
I would say probably, gosh, we're at almost halfway. We are halfway through the year, aren't we? So I don't know. I would guess probably like 40-ish, but I don't know.
What?
It's like about 2 a week usually is what I do.
Mother lover, you're 40. Good
Book
for you.
lover.
I actually would love to know, people who listen to the podcast, what is your 2024 number? Halfway through the year, what is your book number so far?
Yeah,
let us know, 773-780-0246, right? So if you're Team Beach, what are some books folks should check out while they land on the sand?
Okay, so the 2 books I chose for reading at the beach are The Ministry of Time by Colleen Bradley, which came out last month. And it's about time travel, sort of. There's like an Arctic explorer from the maybe 1800s who like is brought to a kind of future world. And oh my God, I don't even want to describe it. I just want you to go read it, especially if you like sci-fi-ish things. I think you will love this book. Another thing I really loved about it is that like it's kind of steamy, which is partly why I suggested reading it by the beach so you can jump in the water. But it's also just like it's super plotty and really propulsive, which means like if you need a break, a little swim break, this is the perfect one for it. But the other thing that I really loved about The Ministry of Time is that it's also like a pretty fascinating and gorgeous exploration of like the consequences of colonialism in a way that you just like wouldn't expect from a book that a lot of people are pitching as like kind of outlandery.
I like this one section from this breakdown. The Ministry of Time asks, what does it mean to defy history when history is living in your house? Like what?
Yes.
I don't even know what the hell that means. And I'm
it's
intrigued.
Good though. And history is super sexy too. So there you go. It's really, really good. I just started a newsletter called Gretagram, and I'm going to try and do a book club over there. And this is like unofficial or officially our June book club book. I don't know what that even means really at this point, but I look forward to figuring it out with y'all.
Hey, if you want to figure it out alongside Greta, we will drop a link to the new newsletter in the show notes. What's your other beach read for us?
My other beach read is one of my favorite books ever. It's by Kevin Wilson, and it's called Nothing to See Here. It came out several years ago, which means it's in paperback, so you don't have to worry quite as much about getting it wet. It is about a woman who is asked to take care of these two twins who have recently been orphaned. And they also just happen to spontaneously combust when they get really upset. Like they catch on fire.
Bro, so my first thought when you even got to orphan, and this is horror movie, so it's not my fault. I was like, demon babies. And so it doesn't feel like it's that, but combustion, so that feels like The Incredibles.
It's really cool. And partly what I love about this book so much is that like it takes place in like quote unquote like real normal life, except for these twins who have this like very quirky thing happening.
So is that like a metaphor for like a temper tantrum?
Yes. I mean, it's metaphor for all sorts of different things. But yes, that is a really big one, is like when your feelings are just too big, of course you would catch on fire, right?
Understood. Okay.
So this woman, being a very reasonable human, is like, okay, well, I guess I'm hanging out with these kids in a swimming pool all day because that's the only way I can like contain the disaster that is these children who set on fire. So it seemed like a good pick for this one too.
No, that makes sense.
Right?
I like that. The first one was just like very steamy, time travel.
Right.
Like Mickey, and then this next one was like, you know what? I'm talking about these kids who just blow up because they're trying to deal with existential dread.
Sometimes you just need a swim break, you know?
They don't know that's what it is yet. All right, so if you're not covered in sand, switching between the lake and drying off, you at the park, what you reading?
Okay, so the book that I'm reading it, I've read it twice now already this year because I loved it so much, is called Margot's Got Money Troubles. It comes out this coming Tuesday. So this is by Rufi Thorpe. Someone recently described that their favorite book genre is weird and hopeful, which I loved because I think that is one of my favorites too. And this really fits beautifully with that. It's a very strange cast of characters. We have Margot, who is our protagonist. She has gotten pregnant after having like a weird relationship with her college English professor. Mm-hmm. And she just like desperately needs cash. And so she ends up joining OnlyFans. And it's like an exploration of what are the consequences of sex work in this like very interesting, when it's all on your terms kind of way. Her dad is a former professional wrestler and is very charming and delightful. It's just like a really fun cast of characters, and it ends up being about a lot of different things, and it's also deeply entertaining, which, as I said, is just one of my favorites. So I just cannot recommend that book highly enough.
So I've got two books to add to our running list. The first one is written by Zach Haydorn, who works at Block Club Chicago. The book is called Stunning the Wrestling Artistry of Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin was my favorite wrestler, so I'm just building off the pro wrestling line of thinking that you started. And then my other one, which I'm very excited, it's already on the way to my house now. It's from one of my favorite authors, Hanif Abdul-Rakib.
Yes.
His book, There's Always This Year on
So
Basketball and Ascension. It's been described as a book about the emotional politics of place and what it means to honor and sometimes be honored by our hometowns when we leave. Some people have said it's his most vulnerable biography to this point, but it's written and juxtaposed alongside growing up at the same time that LeBron James was growing up. Hanif grew up in Columbus, Ohio. LeBron, of course, from Akron, Ohio. And so he talks about basketball legacy. He talks about his own personal story dealing with grief and loss as a young kid. But again, his ability to blend like music, culture, history, basketball, prose, poetry, all these things at one time makes him one of the absolute, I think, best authors currently working. And so we got a full list of things from pro wrestling to, my favorite, which is like nonfiction biography mixed with a little bit of history. And then you've got a great list from Ministry of Time, Margot's Got Money Troubles, and others. Again, check our show notes for this full list. Greta, I appreciate you being here today, my friend.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me. This is such a pleasure.
Some good news. I want to bring Greta in for her good news today. Greta, what's your good news?
My good news, Jacoby, is that today is my mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. Love ya.
I got to meet your mom once before, and she gives great hugs. And she listens to all the episodes, so it felt like she knew me before I even met her.
It's really sweet.
All right, we're going to be back bright and early tomorrow. We will talk to you then. Peace. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Can I count how many books I've read really quick?
Yes.
19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28,
It's a great
29,
outtake.
30, 31, 32,
It's
33,
ridiculous.
34, 35, 36, 37, 38.
I want to give you the skibbity paps.
39, 40, 41. So that was a really good guess.
41 books so far in 2024.
41. Yeah.